Well, tomorrow marks 2 years since the most destructive wildfire in Colorado history burned through Boulder County. 2 people lost their lives and more than 1,000 homes were destroyed. At the 2-year mark, the recovery is still a work in progress. In the town of Louisville, where more than 550 structures were destroyed, about 40% of families have been issued a permit to rebuild. Even less, about a quarter of residents who lost their homes have been cleared to move back in. Recovery is a bit further along in Superior, where those homes were destroyed. Town officials say they've issued rebuilding permits for 70% of the homes that were destroyed in Superior. 157 families have been moved in to move back in there. And as recovery continues, so does the battle to find accountability. Dozens of families and even local governments have filed lawsuits against Xcel Energy, seeking to recover some of the estimated $2 billion in damages caused by the Marshall Fire. Investigators say an Xcel power line was likely to blame as the source of the second of 2 fires that merged together on December 30th, 2021. Xcel says it didn't start the fire, its equipment didn't start that fire, and that the other fire did all the damage. Scientists are still working to answer some of those questions through computer models. Meteorologist Corey Reppenhagen walks us through one of those recreations from the National Center for Atmospheric Research.
In a very unusual circumstance, there were 2 separate fire ignitions less than an hour apart that led to the Marshall Fire on December 30th, 2021. The first fire, which is officially known as the El Dorado Springs Fire, started on the 12 Tribes property about 40 minutes before a spark from a power line started what's officially known as the Trailhead Fire. The 2 fires merged and became the Marshall Fire.
People want to understand what happened and, I guess to some extent, attribute blame.
NCAR scientist Janice Cohen recreated the scenario using a fire behavior computer model. The Coupled Atmosphere Wildland Fire Environment, or COFFEE model, separated the impacts of each fire even though the ignitions were less than a half-mile apart. The simulation showed that the first fire, the one that started on the 12 Tribes property, not only had a 40-minute head start, but it also was surrounded by stronger winds. It cut in front of the second fire.
The Trailhead Fire, that is the fire that was deemed to have been started by Xcel, shortly ran into the back end of the previously burned area, what we would call the black.
The result of the recreation showed that the 12 Tribes fire was responsible for more than half of the total burned area. Cohen then ran the simulation without the 12 Tribes ignition to see if the Marshall Fire would have been just as catastrophic without it.
So the Trailhead Fire would have stopped short of McCaslin at approximately Highway 36, so wouldn't have caused nearly the damage had it occurred on its own.
She said by itself, the fire started by the power lines would have burned 40% less area, resulting in significantly less burned structures. It would have also traveled slower, which may have given firefighters a better chance to stop it even sooner. Meteorologist Corey Reppenhagen, 9 News.
There was also a third fire that day that isn't talked about as much. It's called the Middle Fork Fire. It was just north of Boulder. The NCAR computer model showed that fire could have actually been even more damaging than the Marshall Fire if firefighters had not put it out quickly. That fire could have destroyed part of the heavily populated city of Longmont.